You take more of a bearish case, you look ahead to 2030, like we haven't built out as much data centers as we all maybe hoped or thought. What's kind of got in the way? That way we can sort of like anticipate it and hopefully not let it happen.
Sure. If we get to 2030 and we're kind of cruising along, still seeing the same steady load growth, I think one of the things we need to clearly continue to evolve is our data use and our data around some of these more remote sites. So one of the challenges we have is we're seeing a lot of load growth in remote areas. And as a result, we don't have the same quality of data that we were talking about earlier. We have wonderful quality of data on our residential loads, which is great because they drive a lot of the volatility in the market. We want to see how those behave. And again, the real-time behavior is really important on those. But at the same time, we also have a lot of these large loads, and sorry for being the large load voice on this panel, but we have a lot of these large loads where we don't have data visibility and granular visibility into what's happening. Not all these loads have an EPS meter or the right metering infrastructure for us to see that data even 5 days in arrear if they don't have the telemetry or a queasy on site. And so I think as we continue to move forward, we have to understand how we use data better and we get good data off really important assets. Again, that sounds like a really obvious point, but it's not working well enough right now. So we need to continue to work on how we get data off from some of these larger assets in the market. I think one of the other things that we want to be thinking through is also just we spend a lot of time in legal and in contracting and how you create contracts that are nimble and grow and evolve with the market as there are uncertain times. I think, again, through all these large loads and working through contracts that perhaps have tenor that extend beyond this 5 years that we're talking about. So how do you create a contract that is de-risked for all parties, able to go get lending, that also recognizes and acknowledges the market's going to change in the next 5 years and we don't know, and the market's specifically going to change around things that impact your load. And so I think the other thing that we're trying to focus on is the perfection of contracting and how you create the right contract and document set for a very, very boutique product. Every site has different needs. Every site has different lenders. Every site has different operations. So how do you evolve that contracting structure so that 5 years from now, you've got all these participants in the market who have been trying to get in for 5 years, but in a structure that supports reliability, supports performance, doesn't drive BKs and bankruptcies and a whole nother kind of next generation of problems to solve.
That's really interesting. I think most people think about like the data problems as being more on the residential side than you kind of I think there's maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just like totally off in left field in this one, but I think of like for the big customers, like data is something everybody's got, but this is a brave new world, right? There's like these are developments, like you said, 800 megawatts. We haven't seen anything like this.
We just launched a platform that we built off of our own internal operations because it's how we look at data, and we really care about how these large loads behave, and we really care about it at an interval basis. And when you don't have that data at an interval basis, what's the other data you need to look at? It's something that we think is super important, and we're trying to take our lend our learnings to the market to also have kind of the access to best data available today.